Hello, hello. Happy Thursday afternoon. Hello. If you are joining me live, please post hello or something in the comments so that I know you are here. And if you are catching the replay, please hashtag replay so I can connect with you. I'm just going to give everybody a couple of minutes to jump on because this live is a very interactive live. So I see a few of you joining me. Remember that I am streaming via StreamYard. So if you don't give StreamYard permission to know your name, the only thing that I'm going to see on my end is Facebook user. So if you haven't gone through that step and you're already in the live, don't worry about going backwards. Just when you say something in the comments, like put your name before it or after it, and that would be greatly appreciated. So hello, not sure who you are. It just says Facebook user, but thank you for joining me. Yay. All right. So I see a few of you are jumping on. I'm going to give you guys a couple of minutes. And remember, again, if you are catching this live, if you'll please say hello and let's be interactive today. Super important that we do that. Let's see who else may be joining us today. Awesome. So Sabrina, I see that is you. So I see your comment there on Facebook. I jumped over to Facebook to make sure we're really doing what we should do. So I'm glad that you are here. So exciting. And we're talking all about time blocking today, which is one of my favorite topics because it has completely changed my business and it has completely changed my life. And Sabrina, I see you're here. Anyone, when you're joining me, if you'll say hello, hope your day is going good. Sabrina was in my co-working event this morning. If you haven't joined one of those co-working events, I highly, highly recommend them. They're so much fun. But again, so today's record today. Hey, Sylvia, thank you. You granted StreamYard permission so I could see your name. But today's training is not pre-recorded. Today's training is very, very live. And I want this to be extremely interactive between us. So I am going to ask you guys questions throughout this. And I would really greatly appreciate it if you would just pop those comments in the chat as we go along. So, all right. So for those of you who, I know the ones who are live right now know who I am, but for those of you catching the replay, you may not know who I am. My name is Stephanie Manley. I have been in the bookkeeping and tax industry for over 25 years. A few years ago, I had many bookkeepers come to me asking me questions on how I streamline my business and how I do things to be very productive and efficient. And from that, I decided to start coaching other bookkeepers. Didn't even realize there was a niche for it until then. So I have really found my passion. I love bookkeeping. I love taxes, but I really, really love to coach other bookkeepers and see the transformation that they have in their business. So they're able to work less and make more. And it's been a great experience for me. But I am here today to go over one of my favorite things, and I'm talking about time blocking 101. So be with me here. We're probably going to be here 30, 45 minutes, depending on how many questions that we have. And as we're going through this, if you will pop your questions in the comments, I'm going to steadily go back and check those comments as I'm talking to answer all of those questions. And if you still have some after you watch this live, or if you're catching the replay and you have questions, please always come back and put comments in the links here, or either just reach out to me in DMs or an email. So let's start with a question. And I've already asked this question once in a private chat that I have with several of you. But if you will answer A, B, or C in the comments, and this is, I just kind of want to know where you are with time blocking. So put an A in the comments if you already time block and you find it to be very helpful. So I would personally be an A. B, that you've tried to time block, but it wasn't successful for you. And C, you've never tried it before. So if you will pop that in the comments and let's see what we have. So I have a B. That's cool. I was a B too at one point. I have another B. Okay. Anyone else want to tell me where they are with their time blocking? Awesome. All right, so we have two B's. So first of all, I want to tell you guys what exactly is time blocking, okay? First of all, I'm going to tell you that it can be overwhelming when you start. So I'm going to try to break it down a little simpler so it won't be so overwhelming to you. But time blocking is really just blocking off times in your calendar for certain tasks. And so I want you to imagine your Google Calendar, and from the time you wake up each day until the time you go to bed each night, there's going to be blocks of different tasks on your calendar. All right. Now, I will tell you that the first thing I thought of when someone said this to me was, oh, that's really, really restrictive. And it can be restrictive. Okay. I'm just going to put it out there. It can be restrictive. But most of us in here, we're all bookkeepers, right? And most of us like to be regimented. Okay. We like things to be planned. We like to know what is happening. Drop in the comments, which are you one who likes things planned, or are you like a spur of the moment person? Tell me in the comments. I'm really curious to know what the poll is on that. So are you spur of the moment, sporadic, or do you like things to be planned? I am a huge, huge planner. Like, I want to know what I'm doing 2 weeks from now. My husband, on the other hand, is very sporadic. So we have an interesting dynamic in our house. Plan. I like to plan for work. Yep. And that's typically what I see with bookkeepers, with those of us in this realm. So yes, it's going to be regimented, but we tend to like regimented things. So it's easier for us to time block than, say, social media managers or content creators, because they like they like that flexibility, right? All right. So a couple of reasons why I feel that time blocking is very important. And I have 4 reasons. I'm looking at my notes here so I don't get distracted. And the very first one is to stay focused. It's going to help you focus on what it is you need to be doing. It's going to prevent distractions. Distraction number 1 in our field is email, is phone call, is text messages. It's those dings going off on DMs or Facebook messages or whatever it may be. Those distractions can be overwhelming, and time blocking is going to prevent those, or at least stream it down, right? You know what's going to happen, which makes you so much more productive. Guys, if you're not time blocking, I promise you, you're probably working twice as many hours than it really does take you to get the amount of work done that you're getting done. So if you're working 40 hours a week, you're really only doing 20 hours worth of work that you could be doing during time blocking. That is how incredible time blocking is. That is how much it has changed my business and changed my life. You guys know, most of you know in here, I don't work 5 days a week, right? I get everything that I need to get done typically in 2.5, 3 days a week. And I contribute that mainly to time blocking. It's very important to me. I'm very strategic with my time. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And I block out those distractions because I'm time blocking. And that's what I want for you. That's why I'm doing this training, so that you guys can also take this and use it in your own business. Because I want you to work less and make more. I want you to spend more time with your family, because that's what's important to me. Okay. All right. So things to consider before you start time blocking. Number 1, I want you to know what your work schedule is. So for me, I know that I cannot work certain days of the week because we homeschool and we have co-oping and things like that. So I know what days of the week I want to work, okay, or I can work. Then I also know what days of the week that I take phone calls. Okay, guys, I only take calls from clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's it. I only take calls from clients on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's a boundary that I have set with myself and I have set with my clients. And I know that's not going to be possible for everybody. So I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just telling you, I want you to sit down with yourself and say, what is my dream schedule? Okay. You're not going to get there overnight. I didn't get there overnight for sure. And it's still not perfect. I'm still making changes as I go. But I want you to sit down with yourself and be really honest and say, what is my dream schedule? How many days a week do I actually want to talk to clients? How many days a week do I want to work? How many hours a week do you want to work, right? How many days a month do you want to have date night with your husband or your significant other? What are some of those things that you want? What's going to make you happy in your schedule? That's what I want you to start with. All right. Again, I want to tell you, as I told you before, this can seem restrictive to begin with, but you just have to power through that thought and really try this out if you're going to time block. You are going to be doing single task at the time. So we all grew up in the mode of multitasking, right? Let's answer an email while we're talking on the phone, while we're eating our breakfast, right? Like all the things. But the science is that you actually are more productive if you do one task at the time and you're not multitasking. All right. Not to mention that you make less mistakes, like all that good stuff. Okay. So remember, when you time block, we're going to talk about doing one single task at the time. Also, it's going to take you a lot of effort in the beginning. You are going to have to do a lot of trial and error till you figure this out. And you also need to know, how long do certain tasks take you? Now, I'm a firm believer that you should be journaling every day. And when I say journal, I mean, like, when you wake up in the morning, you should have a piece of paper that says 6 o'clock, wake up, right? And then you go have your breakfast and you say 6 to 6:15, ate breakfast. 6:15 to 6:30, took a shower, like whatever, right? So all those things, I want you to do that. If you're not already doing that, I want you to do that for a week. When I did that with my business coach 2 years ago, I was in complete shock of how much wasted time, number one, that I had on my list every day. It was crazy. And then also, I noticed as I wrote it down, I felt kind of guilty sometimes. Like, if I was like flipping Facebook, I really didn't want to write that down. I didn't want to tell my coach that I was wasting 2 hours a day flipping through Facebook, right? So I had to be really, really, really honest with myself. And that's what that activity will help you do, is become very, very honest with yourself. So try that. Actually put in the comments, have you ever done that? And were you like, what did you learn from it? I'm just curious. But you are going to need to know how long things take you. So if you have not been timekeeping on different tasks, emails, social media planning, like all those things, you do need to start recording that so that you can have a really good idea of how long things take for you to do. All right. So we're going to go over the steps to time blocking, and I have it shortened to 5 tasks. So I'm going to tell you the 5 steps, and I want you to do these in order. And then I'm going to show you my calendar and how this works. Okay. So the first thing is, I want you to start with a blank slate. Don't start with your Google Calendar that's full of stuff and then try to do your time blocking. So I want you to start with a blank slate. Open up a new Google Calendar or open up a spreadsheet, whatever it is for you to start with this. So start with a blank slate. All right. The second thing I want you to do is I want you to add to that blank slate calendar your non-negotiables. Okay, so remember before in the beginning, I told you I want you to know what your schedule is. So that's part of that blank slate. Let me go back to that. So part of that blank slate is, if you're not working on certain days of the week, I want you to block the days out. Okay, you can't put any time blocks in there because you're not working those times, right? And I have some of those. Those would also be considered non-negotiable. So family events are going to go in there. Date nights are going to go in there. For me, these are mine. These are my non-negotiables, right? Homeschool, Bible activities with my family. Those are non-negotiables for me. Those go on the calendar first. Okay. For me, it's family, then business. I'm a mama and a wife before I am an entrepreneur. Let's see. Somebody says, I have done that before. I get stuck with being client specific rather than generic time blocks. Oh, we're going to talk about that. Yay. Love it. Thank you for saying that. I'm going to show you a trick to that. All right. So add your non-negotiables. If you will, drop me 1 or 2 non-negotiables because I want to see this. I want to see what you have come up with. I'm going to help you here. So tell me, what are your non-negotiables? I want to know. And I'll give you guys just a minute. Remember, I wanted this to be a very interactive live today. So tell me what your non-negotiables are. Oh, Sylvia says family time is a non-negotiable. Love it. Now, Sylvia, I'm going to challenge you to take that a step further and say, is family time a daily non-negotiable? Is it like once a week you have family dinner? Like what are you talking about when you say family time? How much time are we talking as a non-negotiable? Let's see. I have another couple comments here. Okay, I don't know who that is. So let me shoot over to Facebook. Ah, Teresa, non-negotiables, date days and nights, family time, Sunday dinner. Perfect. So Teresa, I'm going to challenge you. Date days and nights. Is it so many date days and nights a week? Or make sure you have so many a month on the calendar? Like tell me where we're talking about. Okay, school time for tutoring kids. Love that. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. All right, so we're going to add our non-negotiables to our calendar. We're physically going to plug them in to the calendar, right? The third thing I want you to do is I want you to think about your client deadlines and appointments. So think of things like if you do payroll for your clients, when is that due? Do you have a certain time or certain day every week, every other week that you do payroll? That needs to be added to the calendar, right? If you have standing appointments with your clients, add those to the calendar, right? If you have payroll taxes that you do, if you're an in-house person that does your own payroll taxes, and if you're doing that, bless your soul, but I highly recommend that you outsource that stuff. Go get a Gusto account. You need some info on it, let me know. Been there, done that. Also, if you're doing analysis work for your clients, so you're giving those financial reports, when are those due to your clients? Those due dates need to be put on your calendar somewhere so we can fill in the blanks. Okay, I have another comment here. Let's see. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, not all day, but as much as I can. Stop me from working. Love it, Teresa. Love it, love it, love it. So put those things on your calendar. They're non-negotiable, right? All right, so those are going to be step number 3. Step number 4 are going to be add your daily task to your calendar. And I'm going to give you a few of mine. If you have some, please drop them in the comments as well. So for me, I have morning routine and my end of day. I call it my daily recap. Okay, those are daily tasks. They're on my calendar every single day, except for Saturday and Sunday, of course. I also had something that I call a power hour that I may do a training on inside the group one day, but it's some things that I do. It's called a power hour, 60 minutes every day. I have reactive tasks. Well, what is a reactive task? Well, email number 1 is reactive. Calling back clients is number 2, right? Answering Facebook DMs would be reactive. So things that happen and you have to do with something in the place of it, right? And then also daily, you need to have on your calendar focus times. And focus times are going to be light focus and heavy focus. So light focus to me are going to be tasks that I can sit here and do, and my son can sit here and we can chat and I can still do what I need to do, right? I don't have to be heavily involved in the task, right? It may be something that you can sit on your couch and do, right? While you're sitting there. Now, I don't recommend that if you're having family time that you're sitting there on your couch on your phone, answering DMs or social media marketing. I don't recommend that at all. I do it on occasion and I always feel horrible when I do it because I'm not, as my coffee cup says, present. Okay. And that's one of my things this year is try to be more fully present with my family. All right. So what types of daily tasks do you feel that you need to do every day? Drop those in the comments if you don't mind. I'd love to hear what you have. Might have to add it to mine. All right. And while I'm waiting on you guys to drop those daily habits, or tell me, do you do any of those that I just mentioned as well? The fifth step I want you to do is create your to-do list and schedule the blocks. Okay. So I'm going to show you how I do that here in just a minute. And I actually use a Google Sheet, and then I also use Google Calendar. And then a couple of extra, I got a comment here. Let's check what that is. Similar to you, I do a get to do each morning and evening to check emails, phone messages. Perfect. Love that. All right. So a couple of extra tips for you guys. Actually, I'm going to go back to this, create your to-do list. There's two ways that you can do that. You can actually, you can use tasks. If you're a Google Calendar person and you're not ready for another software yet, Google Calendar has the task features. So you can add, specific tasks, which is like your to-do list, and then you could plug it into your calendar, right? That's number one you can do. The other option, which I highly recommend, is some type of task management system, such as ClickUp, Asana, Monday, Trello, one of those things. So that is, I use ClickUp. I know a lot of my clients, my coaching clients use Asana. I also use Trello, not for this, but I also use Trello. So really it's finding what you like, right? What you feel is going to be good for your business. What's a good fit for you? Okay. And then moving into some extra tips for you. Number one, make sure that you're buffering times between tasks. So don't just go from one task to the next, right? For example, this live today started at 2 o'clock. Well, on my calendar, I started my live at 1:30. That gave me enough time to make sure nothing else was happening and I didn't have a call at 1:30 only to get off right to jump into this, right? That allowed me time to breathe a minute, focus a minute. I actually had like 10 extra minutes. I just helped my son ice a chocolate cake that he made himself today. He was so proud of himself. But I helped him to figure out how to ice that cake, right? So I had buffer time in between tasks that I could do other little things that aren't planned, right? That gives me that flexibility. I also schedule breaks on my calendar, and I'm talking not just lunch, right? Schedule yourself a 5-minute, get out of the chair, go walk around, go say hello to your family, because most of you are working from home, right? Give yourself those breaks. And that will also help you to stay focused and really plan on this time blocking working, okay? Because if you don't schedule breaks, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, like I am working from sun up to sundown, because that's what your calendar looks like. It's very regimented, all right? Overestimate how long things take. So if you have not already been time tracking all your tasks, when you start this time blocking, if you think something's going to take 30 minutes, I want you to put it down for an hour. So double the time you think it's going to take, because we have a really bad habit of underestimating how long things take. I know I do, right? Do you do that? I'm just curious. And then again, plan for downtime to prevent burnout. We've all been there. Tell others your schedule. This one is one of my absolute favorites. Most of you know that I spend a lot of time with my mom and my grandmother, who's 91 with dementia. And so I actually text my mother at least once a week. This is what my schedule looks like, right? So like this morning, she got a snapshot or a screenshot of my Google Calendar. My husband this morning got a screenshot of my Google Calendar, because Thursdays are my busy days, right? Tuesdays and Thursdays are my really big days. So in the mornings on those days, they get a screenshot of my calendar, so they know Stephanie has a live at 2. Like, don't blow my phone up unless it's an emergency, right? Know that I'm focused on work, so that they're not steady texting me or what have you, okay? That will help you stay on target. Let your people know what is going on, right? Also, if you have somebody who can help you stay accountable, I have a coach who helps me with this. I have an accountability coach, and she knows what I'm going to tackle this week. We have check-ins so many times a week, and she keeps me accountable. I had a chat with her yesterday, and it was, okay, well, this week you told me you were going to do X. How far along are you? If you have that person who is going to keep you accountable, it will help you to get so much more done. And if you don't have that accountability partner, let me know. I would love to be that person for you and check in with you. Awesome. All right. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to plan an overflow day on your calendar. A lot of us go, oh, I can't do this because what happens if I book out the next 2 weeks and something takes longer than it was supposed to take, or something comes up? We get it, right? Have an overflow day. Go ahead and mark one day every single week that you don't schedule a thing, nothing, right? You schedule your daily stuff, but you don't schedule any work. You schedule nothing. That is your overflow day. For me, that's on a Monday. Mondays are my overflow days. If stuff didn't get done last week, well, guess what? I got Monday. Okay, so make sure you schedule that overflow day. And my last one is, remember, it's not set in stone. You can always revise this, but I want you to try really hard to stick to what you planned. Okay? All right, any questions before I jump in to share my screen and showing you my calendar? Any questions? Thank you, Sylvia. I'm not sure what you're saying you loved, but thank you anyway. Awesome. All right, let's see any questions. I know there's like a delay here with Facebook, so I'm trying to give it a second. Awesome. I see a couple people are just joining us. So hello, if you are here, tell me hello in the comments. Okay, I hear a question. Method to determining blocks. Can you give me a little bit more on that, Teresa? What do you mean method to determining blocks? Help me out on that. All right, so I am going to share my screen. Here we go. All right, actually, I'm going to share. Okay, share screen. Boom, there we go. All right. Perfect. Okay. I hope that you can see this. I really, really, really hope that you can see this. Can I get a thumbs up or anything on this that you can see this? Teresa says, how do I decide what to put in the blocks? Client specific or what? Yep, I'm about to tell you that right now, actually. Can everybody see? Okay, you can see it. Okay, awesome. I wasn't sure if it was like teeny weeny or what it was, but I'm actually about to blow it up anyway because that would help. Boom, boom, boom. Ah, ooh, yeah, much better. Okay, so remember I told you I wanted you to list out your to-do list, right? So this is kind of just an example. This isn't mine, but this is an example. I use ClickUp. But write down the things that you are going to do every single month. That's one thing that has to be done, right? So I have on here, for example, I need to do monthly analysis for client A. I do this monthly. It has to be done before the 15th of every month. And this particular client takes me a half an hour. I know that it takes me a half an hour because I have time tracked it before. Now, if I had never time tracked, I'm assuming it's going to take me in half an hour. I'm going to put an hour here. Remember, I want you to double that. Then I have client B. I have to do monthly analysis for him. It's done monthly before the 15th. And when I say before the 15th, it's because I start my analysis calls with my clients on the 15th. So I know I have to have it out before the 15th, right? Can't have a call with them about it if I don't have the work done. And this client takes me a little longer, bigger company. That analysis takes me 1 hour every single month. Okay. Remember, these are tasks that I'm doing specifically, not my team is doing. Okay. And then maybe you're still clearing bank feeds. You haven't hired that out yet, so you're clearing bank feeds. So, excuse me, I would write that out here and say how frequently for my company it's done every week. I don't have a specific date because it's going to be a weekly task. And for this client A, it takes 15 minutes a week. Okay, does that make sense? I hope this is helping. Drop it in the comments, please, so I know I'm not losing anybody. And then I want you also to make sure that you're writing down tasks for your own business, because guys, this is the hamster wheel that we get in very, very often. I have been there completely. Is that we are steady worrying about this. Yes, client work, client work, client work, client work, that we forget about this. We forget about growing our own business. We forget about our own bookkeeping. Hello, which all that does is create imposter syndrome, because now we go, oh, how could I tell these clients that they need to have their bookkeeping done when I haven't even gotten mine done? What is it? It's September and I haven't even started my 2022 bookkeeping. How can I tell anybody else that it's important? You see how that happens? But it's because, one, imposter syndrome, we need to work on it. If you have it, let me know if you got it. I hope you get out of it. But it's because we're not focusing on our own business, right? We talked about this morning in the co-working event. And it looks like there's 5 of you in here right now, and I hope all 5 of you are women, but I'm just going to say, as women, we put ourselves last 9 times out of 10. Well, if our business is us, we're also putting our business last 9 times out of 10, right? So I want you to make sure this is on your calendar. This should be a non-negotiable for you every month. This should be part of your non-negotiables. It's a non-negotiable that I'm going to work on my business. It's a non-negotiable that I'm going to create content and schedule that for my business, right? Show of hands in the comments. Do you put this last or do you put this first? So say first or last. Do you put your business first or last? Okay. I have a really bad habit of putting my business last. And I do that because I get so caught on the hamster wheel of making sure everybody else is happy that I forget about my happiness. And my happiness comes from growing my business. That's what helps me, right? That's what gives me that feel good. When I help other bookkeepers for them to learn and for them to grow, and I see their businesses flourishing after we have a coaching calls, that gives me a feel good, right? Do you get a feel good when you have bookkeeping clients and you help them with their business? Yes, you have the feel good, but you're not going to have the feel good if you don't grow your business and have more clients to give them the feel good. All right, you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a vicious cycle. All right. So non-negotiable. I see 2 last. Yep. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right. So non-negotiable. You're going to work on your business every single week. Every single week, I want you working on your business. Don't do it once a month, every single week. Okay. If you want a list of things you need to be doing, let me know. I'll send you a list. Okay. Now, I'm going to jump over. Oh, somebody says they're a procrastinator. I got to go see who this is over on my little Facebook sheet. Hey, Melanie. Yes, we're so much. I'm like #1 procrastinator. I totally get it. Yes. If I have a deadline tomorrow or something, I'm going to do it today. I'm going to start on it today. All right. Anyway, so here's my calendar. All right, let me show you. So I do use Google Calendar. I love Google Calendar. I used to hate Google Calendar, but I like it now. You can see I'm a color code girl. I am not your creative. I'm not artistic, but I love color coding my calendar. Okay. So couple of things with color coding. I'll show you what they all mean here in a second. But again, I want you to start with a blank slate. So go in here, do a new calendar. As you can see, if I go into time blocking here, time blocking is blank. So that's what I want you to start with. Go open yourself up a new Google Calendar, call it time blocking, call it whatever you want. But I want you to start with a blank slate. Okay. All right. So with that, remember, we're going to go through the steps. What was step number 1? Step number 1 was start with a blank slate. We're going to do that. Step number 2, we're going to add our non-negotiables. What are those non-negotiables? We heard that. Family time, date night, right? Non-negotiables. Oh, look at here. I'll show you my non-negotiables. My non-negotiables are in blue. Blue for me is family. Now, Google gives you these amazing highlights, right? You can see over here, where do I spend most of my time this week? On my non-negotiables. I'm spending most of my time this week on family, which is exactly how I design my business. That's the most important thing to me, right? My second thing that I'm spending time on is going to be this little light blue here. Light blue for me is networking, as you can see. Oh, look at there. You can actually see exactly. This is a new feature of Google. I'm learning it while I'm with you. Okay. You can see, where am I at this week? What have I done this week? Right? So you can see today, here we are right here with this live. I've got a couple of calls coming up a little bit later today. And then you can see here, I have date night. That's tonight. We have morning routine. Start at 6 o'clock every morning, end at 7:30. So we'll look at this one right here for Friday. That's probably a little easier. I have email, 7:30. So those are one of those reactive tasks. Email is reactive. From 7:30 to 8 every morning, I clean up my email. Okay. This is half of my power hour. Remember, I do 60 minutes of a power hour a day. That's working on my business. I do half in the morning, so a 30-minute in the morning, and then I do a 30-minute, as you can see, later on in the afternoon. I teach Bible lesson to my children every single morning. For tomorrow, it's going to be at 8:30. And then they have cooking class tomorrow, so I have to take them to cooking class. And while they're there, notice that this is kind of like an overlap here. So while they're there, I'm going to check my email while they're out cooking, and I'm going to do my other half of my power hour. Okay. I also have a vision workshop that I'm going to be in tomorrow. And then I'm going to end my day with my daily recap. Okay. I got my oldest daughter's turning 20 next week. So we're having a birthday dinner for her. And then every Sunday for me on my calendar, I actually have a Bible verse for every single Sunday that we write on our command center. It's something that we look at every week. And then I also time block for the next week. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you next week. You'll see there's a few holes here, right? Not many, but there's a few holes. And it's because I've already started time blocking for next week. Excuse me. Remember, Monday is my overflow day. So you see, nothing's really scheduled here. Like I have, lunch scheduled. I actually talk to my coach on Mondays, but nothing really is scheduled here. Okay. Any questions, drop them in the comments. I don't mind answering any questions I have. And then we start on Tuesday. So you can see I have this box here from 9 to 10. So what I'm going to do on Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon when I look at this, and I prefer to do it Sunday because that way that kind of makes me see what my week looks like, right? It's like right then, this is what my week looks like. I have to make any adjustments. There's a 9 to 10 box here. If this is not filled with a client appointment, because right now it's filled with a client appointment, right? If it's not filled with a client appointment, then I'm probably going to schedule something here. Or I may leave it for a possibility of client appointments. Because right now with my appointment scheduling, it shows that I'm available on Tuesday from 9 to 10 for calls. Okay, and I'm probably going to leave it that way because as you can see, I don't have much blank space, right? And so typically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say client calls. Okay. And I'm going to leave it the color. I like to leave it there. That just kind of shows me there's nothing happening. And that's going to go until 10 o'clock. And I'm going to make sure, I got to go to more options here in this schedule. I'm going to make sure this says free. The reason that I'm going to say that is free time is so that my scheduling software, which I use Calendly, is still going to let a client book here. You follow me? But now I know that that's closed up. Any questions or am I good here? Am I losing you? Tell me if this is helping any, please, in the comments. Okay. Now looking right now, and typically, like I said, this will be something that I would do on Wednesday. I am looking to see if there's any overlaps of anything that I had pre-planned. So for example, I have a virtual co-working appointment here on Tuesday, right? From 1 to 3. If you're not in it, make sure you register. So during this co-working, I have things that I want to do, right? I need to work too. So as you can see, I already have my bookkeeping analysis here. This is when I do analysis work for my clients. So right here, again, Teresa, you asked, is it client specific? I do not do client specific work, blocks, but I also don't do a lot of the bookkeeping tasks that I know many of you are still doing. So in that case, you can be client specific, or you can do like I do, which is this is when I do bookkeeping tasks, right? And then within that, I will say exactly what I'm going to do. Like I have 2 hours of time here. In 2 hours of time, I know that I could do 4 analysis. If it's a 30-minute analysis, I can do 4 of those. So in here, or in ClickUp on my little calendar, right? Because on ClickUp, I can have the task and I can pull it over. I'm going to say I'm going to do client A, B, C, and D during this particular block of time. I hope that helps you. So specific work is fit into the blocks. That is correct. That is right. So I go very basic, very general, and then I'm going to plug in those specific tasks. Now, what happens really quickly is you will see, do I have too much work for the time that I have, right? And that's going to become very apparent very quickly. And so what's going to happen then is you have a couple of choices. Choice A is I'm going to have to really think about my my non-negotiables. Like, are they truly, truly non-negotiable? Okay, that's number one. And I hope that you're going to find that they really are non-negotiable. I don't want you negotiating on those, okay, for lack of better terms, okay? But then maybe you're going to see, well, maybe I'm only putting myself that I can work 3 days a week. Maybe I really do need to work 5 days a week, okay? Or I'm working 5 days a week, but I have so much work, I need to work 7 days a week. I don't want you working 7 days a week, okay? You're going to hit burnout super, super, super fast. But when you start realizing that you have more work than you have time, it's time to make some adjustments. Adjustment number one I want you to think about is, how streamlined are my systems? Am I doing things over and over and over again that a system can do for me? Am I spending too much time sending emails to clients, to, doing certain things that a system can do for me? Okay, that's number one. Number two, if your systems are streamlined, they're working magically. Then the second thing is, if you have more work than you have time, that means it's time to outsource. Okay, it's time to bring in some help. And then we can talk about, like, what type of help do you need? Do you need like a beginner bookkeeper to come in and only clear bank feeds for you? Do you need a social media manager to go in and do some of that content creation for you, because that's just not your zone of genius, right? Those are the things that that's the next step there. Okay, that's going to be the next thing that you need to look at. So it's very important when you start filling in your calendar, if you don't see these chunks of time, right? If you don't see those chunks, then that means you've got more on your plate than you can manage. And we need to figure out where we can fix the problem. Okay? Does anybody have that? Like, you feel like you have way more work than what you have time for? I'm just curious on that. All right, I'm going to give it a couple minutes. Do you have any questions? But that's time blocking for me. That's how it's done, guys. Start with that blank slate, and then put in those things. Always have more work than time. So Teresa, for you, and I know you and I, we've talked about this. You and I, you're in my coaching program, but that's something we need to look at. Like, where is the problem? Is it that your system still needs some work, or is it that we need to outsource? And if we're outsourcing already, and this is not just to Teresa, but if we're outsourcing already, are we getting the return on that outsourcing? Because outsourcing is expensive. It could add up, right? So you need to see, are we trading, and remember again, are we trading hours for dollars or dollars for hours? Those are things that we need to work on. Absolutely. Let's see, scared to give away so much work. I won't make enough at 100%. 100%. 100%. Yes. And me personally, like, I had to work those 7-hour or those 7-day weeks. I had to burn the candle at both ends, because it comes that time, right? It's weird. It's weird. And unless you've been in the situation, Teresa, I know you're right there now. We go from having a great schedule and not really making a lot of money, right? But we have a great schedule and things are good and things are jiving. And then we really invest in our business because that's important. And we start getting these clients and then we're like, oh, smack, like something's got to give somewhere. But I'm really still not making quite enough to scale, right? You're in that really rough spot. And when you're in the rough spot, I get it. I get sometimes you have to work extra in order to get there. But once you hit that mark and you can really start outsourcing things and getting your schedule like you want it, and that's why it's so important when I tell you guys, what is your dream schedule? You're not going to get it today, more than likely, but you will get there. So we need to know, what is the mark we're trying to hit? If you don't know the mark, you're steady chasing. You don't know where we're going. So what is your dream schedule? That's the first thing I want you to figure out. What is your dream schedule? And then let's figure out how to place things on your calendar with time blocking to get you as close to that as we can while still getting the work done that needs to get done, right? And that's where the non-negotiables come in. That's the very first thing to put on there. Those are non-negotiables. I have date night tonight. I actually have some work that I need to get done for tomorrow, but date night for me is a non-negotiable. Why? Because guys, like an employee, I want you to think about it like this. Think of yourself as an employee to your client. You're not, and I know that, but I want you to have that mindset, okay? If you were an employee to a company and something happened to you, okay, God forbid something happened to you, your employer would have a job posting for your job before your obituary was posted. Do you agree or disagree? Tell me what you think. Because they have a job, they have a business to run, right? So I want you to have that mindset when you're thinking about your clients, that they will drop you like that if they have to. So why do we, me included, I say we, bend over backwards and cancel our non-negotiables for someone who would drop us like that? I'm guilty. I'm 100% guilty, but I'm trying to do better, right? So when you think about that and you have those non-negotiables on your calendar, I want you to think of that. Like, they would drop me like a hot potato, right? But I'm trying to build those relationships with my family, build those relationships with my husband, those non-negotiable things. Self-care, non-negotiable, right? So anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox now. If you have any questions about time blocking, reach out, here to help you. Email, DM, what have you. Also, make sure that you check your email tomorrow and Monday. I'm going to dropping some really cool things that are happening. If you've been to my co-working events, you may already know about them because I've been giving little tidbits all along the way. But I have a couple of things coming up later on this month that I really want you to mark your calendars for, because you don't want to miss this. I have a really cool thing, really cool workshop coming up for you guys. So make sure you're checking your emails. If you're not getting emails from me, you should have got one on Monday, and you also should have got one yesterday, I do believe. If you are not getting those emails from me, please reach out so I can make sure you're on your email list so you do not miss these very cool things coming up. Thank all of you for being here. And again, reach out if you need me. Hope you have a rest of your good rest of your week and a great weekend. And I will see you. When am I going to see you again? Let me look here. Let's see. You guys probably know more than I do. Oh, I'm going to see you Tuesday. So our next event is a co-working event next Tuesday from 1 to 3. Make sure you are pre-registered because it's not inside the group. It's separate. So I will see you guys then. Have a great one. Bye, guys.